Hi guys, welcome back to the Megan Talk. I'm your host Kristen. I'm here with
Walter Woghine.
now Walter Guerin. What do you do?
I'm the Dean of Students and the Athletic Director at Hammond Academy of Science and Technology.
Oh, do you like it?
Oh, I love it. It's a great job. I'm blessed to be there with great staff and good students.
What does a typical day look like for you as the dean?
It depends, but I try to be proactive now that we kind of have a feel of what the school is like every single day with 30 days left. I generally will go to classrooms, check for IDs, make sure uniforms are compliant. And then a lot of times we do have students who are not with their ID, so I end up either having to make IDs or create temp IDs. So that's how the beginning of the day starts. And by before you know it, we're in the lunchtime. Lunch, I'm kind of surveying the lunchroom, making sure that we're okay there. Although we have administrators there, or excuse me, not administrators, we have people who watch, supervisors who watch the lunchroom. I'll come in there and watch, as well as check the hallways to make sure that during lunch, because it's so open with kids moving from and to class, that kids aren't like stagnant in the hallways.
Of course. What's your favorite part about being the dean?
The interaction with the students, the growth of the students. Some of the students you come in who every day do their job that really don't have any issues, but at the same time, you have your students who need a little more caring, a little more nurturing, and then to see their development and growth throughout the school year. So the overall interaction with the students.
What's the worst part about it?
Being the bad guy, I guess, you do have to enforce consequences. And sometimes there are students who are like quote unquote your favorite, or students that you see that are in a positive interaction all the time that you do have to give consequences to. So that's unfortunate sometimes. And then also the conversations with the parents, because we do have supportive parents, and when you have to bring kind of bad news about their kid and sometimes being suspended or something like that, it isn't the best part of my job.
What do you think has been the worst parent interaction you've had?
I don't think it's really a worse parent interaction. I think they're all different, but the parents who aren't necessarily an ally of the school, and we end up becoming polar opposites versus working together. So those type of parents, but overall parent interaction at our school is good.
So there's not a singular like experience that maybe they yelled at you in your life.
Um, if I do get yelled at, I don't take it personal because it's more of the mood of the the situation, and I think that's temporary rather than permanent. So I don't take that as personal, and it's an opportunity for the parent to vent. And a lot of times when that does happen, we end up leaving out on the same page because we had a chance for the parent to vent. I had a chance to express what was going on from our perspective, and then we generally come to a happy medium where we understand how the student needs more support and how we both can be collaborative in that.
Okay. Do you have any like really good experience where made you like feel better, more positive about what you do with your
Yeah,
parents?
as of recent, if we're going to speak recently because it's on my brain, I had a student who had online classes, so it's really at their discretion of when they have to do it, as long as they get it done in a certain timeline. And they were a little stagnant in getting the work done. So once I was getting the reports from our counselor, I realized the student had about 3 months to get probably 5 months of work done. So I got with that student every single day. The student checked in with me, and collaboratively we got it together to where the student is going to pass and graduate. So that is a highlight for me.
Oh, so you got that person succeeding.
Yeah, and I won't say myself, but I definitely think I played a part in that person's growth and helping out that student see his motivation and the why to why he needed to do the work.
Of course, that's such a great thing. What's your what's the most challenging part about being a dean?
You got to bring the energy every day because you do have to enforce the rules. And with 600 kids and just one dean, there's going to be a multitude of issues at one time. So being organized, making sure that you have to contact parents, it's just a lot of things you have to do that if you mess one step in it, you could create a problem that could just could have been easily done if you just followed the steps and were organized. So I think just handling everyday things of the students and making sure that I'm up to date with paperwork, that's tough.
Okay, so from a scale of 1 to 10, how challenging do you think being a dean is?
At Hast, I think it's maybe like a 3 or a 4.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, this is my 15th year being a dean. I've been at different schools, and Haas is probably one of the easier schools to have the discipline be enforced, and the culture and climate is very good at Haas compared to other schools I've been at.
What other schools have you been at?
I've been fortunate to work at Chicago Public Schools. I've worked at Phillips High School as a dean. I've worked at Harlan High School as a dean. I worked at Ralph Ellison Charter School, which was in Chicago, as a dean. And different areas, different backgrounds, so it comes with a different situation. So as opposed to those schools versus Hammond, it's been a great at Hammond Academy.
Which school has had the biggest impact on you?
I would probably say Ralph Ellison, because I spent my most time there, but all the three other schools I mentioned, they all are similar. So the impact there is, I think, monumental, because those were students of impoverished backgrounds, economic disadvantages, other things that were going on outside of school that made school a last priority for them. So trying to keep their head in their tunnel vision into school was tough at times because they had a lot of other things going on. So that was a challenge that I liked, but I was younger. So it was a different mindset with me in trying to help them. But as a older dean now, I can look back and say those were some of my most beneficial times being with those kids, because they needed some more nurturing and loving.
Has there been any students like from there or this school or any other school that's impacted you?
Um, I won't necessarily say impact, but I admire a couple students and their perseverance and how they were able to overcome some of their obstacles. So that lets me know, like, I guess that you could say it impacted me. That lets me know some of the things that I think I have going on. I can persevere through them too, because I've seen younger people with much more things going on persevere.
What made you want to become a dean?
It's funny, I didn't want to be a dean at first, but I was working a corporate job that did not allow me to coach basketball after school. So I ended up, by luck, one of my friends told me that there was an opening at a school, and it was in the middle of the year. So I was able to get that job as a dean, and then I was able to get that on my resume. But as I was being a dean and looking at some of the students, like I said, their economic disadvantages and some of the things they were going through, I became more invested. And so I started trying to become a better dean. So the years went by, and 15 years later, I'm still a dean. But and I really like the job that I do.
What was your first job?
I was a claims management assistant out of college. So then I became a claims manager in that same job. And so that would always get me off at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and practices are like 3:30. So I didn't know what I was going to do. At one point I thought about quitting my job, but then luckily, like, Lord blessed me with an opportunity to be a coach and a dean inside of a school. So that worked out perfect for what I was trying to do.
So your first job was at 18 years old?
No, out of college, I was about 22, 23. So yeah, so my first job, like, really on my own was like 22, 23.
If you couldn't be a dean, what job would you have wanted?
Ideally, I would probably be a college basketball coach, or in the perfect world, an NBA basketball coach.
What's stopping you from becoming an NBA basketball coach?
Networking probably could be better, but life as well too. I've been fortunate enough to coach a lot of guys that made it to the NBA. I've been fortunate enough to coach in different, like, Nike sponsored events and Nike teams. But as life progresses, you have a family. I've had a family, so choices became, still try to spend time on the road, becoming a coach, which is more about me, or stay at home and find more stability in a job and take care of my family, which is more about we. So I ended up doing that, and not to say that if I did take opportunity to go on the road and try to be a coach and still be out there coaching every day, that I will become NBA or high school or college coach. So I just took the more sure thing, which was my family, which was better for me.
I had to ask, when you were first first dean, like maybe like first day, how did you feel giving your first like detention out, like telling someone you got detention?
It's good and bad. At first, if you're enforcing a rule right away, you're setting the tone about who you are as a dean and that I'm going to be enforcing rules. But also, you don't like having to enforce consequences, but it happens.
I like to be like, yeah, like maybe telling your friends like, oh yeah, I did that.
No, nothing like that.
Well, it's nice having you on today. This is the Megan Talk Show, and I was with
Walter Woghine.
Happy to have you. That's all we have for today.
Thank you.
Bye.